I never thought I would be doing a video on this subject. Generally, I like to have little items to demonstrate what I'm talking about. But this time, our subject is sex toys. I don't have any. So we're going to have to make do with these props. So, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a scientific study that was done about sex toys. And it's really interesting. I never knew how widely these things were used. Turns out that over 50% of the population uses, or at least has used, one of these devices. So it's worthwhile exploring scientifically, which is exactly what these researchers did. Why did they do this? Because of the possibility that there might be some transfer of chemicals from the items into the human body. Well, we've been concerned about transfer of substances into the human body since about 1962, when Rachel Carson published her epic, in which she described the effects of DDT, a pesticide, and how that interfered with the egg-laying ability of birds, hence the title Silent Spring. There would be no birds. And then we started to hear about things like bisphenol A and phthalates, the so-called endocrine disruptors, chemicals found in plastics, for example, that can leach out and interfere with hormonal activity in the body. Well, these sex toys are made out of plastics, and they have a variety of chemicals in them, including what are called phthalates. Now, phthalates are substances that are used to make plastics more flexible. Classic example, my little ducky here, made flexible with phthalates. Well, except for this one, because this one is actually made without phthalates, and it is so labeled. Why should that matter? Because phthalates are endocrine disruptors. They can interfere with the effect of hormones, hence this study. So what did they do? They had a machine which basically was an abrader. It was a machine that had a device on it, and you would put the sex toy into it. It would rub it to see what comes off. Well, it turned out that tiny little particles called nanoparticles did come off. They then extracted these with a solvent, injected that into an instrument called the gas chromatograph, mass spectrometer, which analyzes the chemicals. Well, it turned out that there were plenty of them, including some of these phthalates. So, playing around with these sex toys can expose people to some of these compounds. Does it mean that there's a danger? Hard to say, because I think using one of these abrasion machines is not exactly the same thing as using these things, as they are meant to be used. But nevertheless, it is interesting to explore this, and yet another thing that we now need to be worried about.